You guys are obviously playing Detroit tonight, the great city of Detroit, so thank you for spending some time with us. I guess since we're on the topic of the tour, maybe we can throw out a question about the tour. I guess, Joey, I'm looking at you, so maybe we'll start at that end and kind of work our way down. So you maybe tell us about what's going on with the tour. You guys have been on the road for, I think, a little over a year now, touring to promote your latest album that came out last year, Head Carrier, which is fantastic. What's the tour been like? And maybe just to take that a step further, you know, how has touring changed? What's this tour like compared to tours you guys were doing in the 80s and 90s, besides Paz being here? And then also, you know, tours that you did in 2004, 2009. What's the dynamic like now?
Good question. Well, the tour's been going well. Everyone's laughing, doing their own things. We get together back in the bus and we go, what did you do today? And what did you do? And what did you do? And then we talk about what we did. And then the difference between now and then was we'd be in the bus and we'd wonder where we were, and we'd have to look at a map and then look at the signs and then figure out where we are. We'd have to wake up to do that. So now we're in our bunk. We just go on our phone and then go back to sleep. That's the big difference.
And I'm assuming you use Google to figure that out. Is that right?
I don't even know what it is. I just ask it. We just ask it. I just ask it where we are, and it just tells me. So I don't know. It's probably. I guess it's Google.
It's like magic, right?
Is it Google?
It's Google.
Okay, good.
It's on default.
That's perfect. Good. That's the proper answer. Thank you. Yeah, fantastic. Quick show of hands with the crowd. Has anyone here been to a Pixies show before? What? That's great. It's not enough. We'll get a few more of you there this evening, hopefully. For those of you who haven't been to a Pixies show, it's a fantastic experience. One of my favorite parts of a Pixies show is that there's no set list. And what I mean by that is that the band kind of chooses on a whim what's being played next, usually led by Charles, I believe. So Charles, maybe tell us a little bit about kind of that dynamic and how you kind of read or feel the audience or the band's energy and decide, hey, this is the next song that I'm going to throw out to the band and we're going to rock it out.
I don't know. I suppose it's just different all the time. It's just I'm having random thought processes, you know, like, oh, that was a song that mentioned caribou in it. I know, snake, caribou, snake, animals. And I'll go on like some animal, like I'll be like, I got 4 animal songs I just did. And then we get the monkey.
I had no idea.
And then sometimes it'll be like, oh, yeah, that's a good setup, because that song sounds like it's talking about this next song. And, you know, it'll be some sort of abstract kind of thought like that. Or, you know, it might be like, oh, gee, they're really not reacting to these new songs at all. We better, like, come on, let's do the Here Comes Your Man or something that, you know, that's going to perk things up a little bit. So it just depends on the whatever's going on in my head, I guess. And,
Sure.
And sometimes Dave picks one. He has a couple drum kind of nervous energy things he'll do that we know he's getting ready to do a certain particular song, and it'll be like that one. Okay,
Yeah.
you know.
And we cheat sometimes because, you know, some songs go together, so
Sure.
that goes hand in hand. That'll happen. Visual signs.
I like that. It keeps the audience on your toes, but it keeps the band on your toes as well, right?
Yeah.
I read for this particular tour, you guys rehearsed around 90 songs that at any given time you can just kind of pull out and play. Let me direct this question to you, Paz. You're the newest member of the band here for, what, about a year and a half, 2 years now. Can you tell us what that process was like once you joined the band? How do you learn 90 songs? How do you, since you weren't around, when these songs were originally written in the 80s and 90s, you pull these out. Like, is it a little more difficult for you to kind of go through that process, or has it been fairly simple for you? You've obviously played music for a long time, so what's that been like for you?
I broke my foot, and I couldn't do anything except for listen and play. So I was in my room. This is 4 years ago, by the way. I've been
Okay.
in the band for 4 years, and yeah, I was in my bedroom listening because just to listen to all of the songs would take about 5 hours just to listen to it. So imagine, like, oh, I wonder how the bass part goes. Then it's like another 5 hours. So there goes 10 hours. And so, yeah, you have to make sure you're really listening.
Yeah.
I'll have to apologize, Paz. But I was the one that broke your foot.
Yeah, he's like, no, you're not going anywhere.
Is that what kept you? Yeah, that's what got you in the band. They broke your foot and made you stay. Is that right? Yeah. Pause for your first kind of rehearsal with the band. Is it true that your mom dropped you off at the rehearsal? Did I hear that
That's
correctly?
true, yeah.
I love this story. It's so awesome. So rock
My
and roll.
first rehearsal, this was before we met up with Charles in Northampton. We were in California, and my car broke down, and I had all my kind of like notes and things, and I was like, Mom, can you drop me off at the studio? She was so excited, I just knew it would make her super excited. So she came and picked me up and dropped me off at the rehearsal space. We're in LA.
That's amazing. Most of
And
us
she
get
picked me up too, and she's like, how did it go?
obviously well, right? Most of us get dropped off at the movie theater by our parents. Paz gets dropped off to join an amazing rock and roll band. Your story is slightly better than ours. David, let me ask you on the subject of Paz, since we're chatting with her right now. Again, the newest member of the band, 4 years, my apologies. I cut it a little short, so I didn't mean to do that. Can you talk a little bit about the dynamic of the band and how it's changed since Paz has joined? Obviously, she fits in well. I'm watching you guys play for us, and the dynamic is fantastic. Can you talk a little bit about what that's been like to have her join the group?
Well, it's wonderful. Well, she's made me play better because she's so good. I don't want to be embarrassed. So I had to step up my game. But yeah, it's fantastic. She's a joy to be around. She plays well. And like I've always said, it's funny because she's been with us for 4 years. She still feels like the new woman. So the men are all still behaving very well. So it's
On your best behavior, right?
yes. Yeah.
And I like too. You're the third female bassist for the band as well. It's kind of part of the DNA of the band, I suppose, right? To have a strong female bassist in there as well, which is fantastic. Let's get back to the new. I call it the new album. I guess it's still new, a year old. The newest album, I suppose, Head Carrier. Charles, maybe for you, you came out with an album a few years ago, which you kind of considered more, I think I read in an article, a little bit more of a transitional album, where this is kind of your return to the Pixies, this newest album, Head Carrier. Can you kind of talk about why you feel this album is different than the albums that you've released in the past, or maybe why it's similar to some of the original 4 albums that you released?
I guess because we have a bass player, and the previous record, we lost our original bassist during the session, and anyway, so we had a friend of ours named Ding came to the session, and he played the bass for the rest of the session. And so we worked it out, but it was still a little bit like there was this kind of vacant chair, so it felt, we felt like we had booked the studio, and we were with our old producer friend, and we were there. We were in this little village in Wales, and so well, we got to make the record because we got these songs and we're in Wales, like we don't want to leave. We just got here, so we just did it. So and it came out the way it came out, and we got through it, and so yeah, I guess it was transitional because we had this we were like missing a 4th member, for that kind of dynamic, and so fortunately, for this last session we did, we were like a unit, so
Yeah.
we're like making the coffee together. Hanging out,
Right.
And it was communal, and it was band-like.
It felt good, right? Yeah, absolutely. Well, the album's fantastic. has the songwriting process changed at all? You've got the feeling of a band again. You've got a great feel. You guys have a great chemistry. Has the process either of writing the music itself, the genesis of the song, or the lyrics, has that changed at all for you guys, or is it still fairly similar? Is it kind of remained similar from the 80s when you first started writing and producing music to now?
I guess it feels the same. I mean, you got microphones and tape recorders and instruments, and you try to do something that feels interesting or fun or something to play, and you just, we'll try this one and see how it. Sometimes it comes back through the speakers, and it's like, wow, I didn't know it was that good. And other times it's sort of like, oh, it's like not so good, So you don't. I don't know. Every song is different, and every song. I think I read an interview with years ago with Beck. I think he was saying that every song is like a little country and it has its own rules and customs, and I totally understand that. So when you start to write a song, it's like, oh, it's this. This is the song, even if it's not fully matriculated. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay. What are the? You kind of have a sense of like, oh, that follows the customs of the country, and then other times you try some other, like, that doesn't fit this country. They wouldn't do that there, It's just not like, so it's just kind of, I don't know, it's just that's how it is.
Sure. And it works, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so,
Yeah, you're still selling tickets, so I think it's still working. So, Joey, let me ask you. Speaking of composition, so you've done some really cool work outside of the band as well, right? Composing commercials, composing movie and TV soundtracks, things like that. How does that process? Does it differ from what Charles was just mentioning, where it kind of feels it's got a certain feel to it, or does that feel completely different than the type of music that you're producing and creating with the Pixies?
It gets very lonely. Just by myself, working all the time. Yeah, well, of course it feels different. It's everyone's project. It's not. It's their pet. It's the last piece of the puzzle. So I'm their. Slave. No. It's a fun process.
Sure.
It's amazing. My son was I was doing a horror movie, and I had him push a button, a key, like an ominous sound. And I go, when he walks through that door, put it, and when he exits, take it out. I gave him $5.
That's pretty cool. And Paz, you helped out with some of this as well. If you guys haven't seen a quick plug, Joey and Paz did a really cool, I think it was Acura, am I right?
Yeah.
An Acura commercial, maybe a year or two ago, and I might be wrong on that too, but if you guys haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube. It's actually one of the coolest commercials. So you were able to kind of work out on that as well, so you're expanding outside of the band as well, which is fantastic. It's very cool. What was that process like for you? You're classically trained, I know, as a musician. Was that kind of fun to be able to kind of flex that a little bit?
Yeah. I played piano and the violin, and I got my sister to play the cello on there, and just trying different arrangements of Where's My Mind, and it was really fun.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can pump up some YouTube views on that commercial. It's on there. I watched it recently. So, let me talk a little bit. So I guess we're talking about technology, and we are at Google, which is a technology company. So we usually, when we have bands in here, we like to ask a question around how you guys feel about the utilization of technology with what you guys do, whether it's connectivity with fans, whether it's selling tickets, whether it's social media and staying in touch with family members. And you guys too, I think you guys were I guess, early quote unquote pioneers in terms of your interaction with digital media. You guys released a lot of music on, it was called eMusic. You guys were very early to iTunes. So I feel like it or not, you guys also embrace some of the digital movement of music as well. So that's all encompassing, technology in general, but would just kind of love to hear how you guys feel about technology and music, whether it's been good or bad, and how that's worked for you guys.
We had a meeting this morning on the bus on the way over here about the songs that we were going to play, but also we discussed, I guess we're a little behind we told Simon, our tour manager, that we wanted one of those speakers that you just shout at and tell what music to play. There's Alexa, right? And then that's the one my brother has.
I've never heard of that one.
What?
There's one called Google Home, though.
Google Home?
And I've heard it's quite fantastic.
Maybe get a free one, Simon. Maybe I don't know. Google Home. We don't care as long as it plays the damn Chet Baker record or whatever we want to listen to. You know what I mean? So yeah, we like the tech.
Any other thoughts from anyone else?
Technology's good.
One difference from then and now is now there's jumbotrons when you do live shows. So they weren't them in the past. So now you're gonna like, oh no. But,
You can see yourself performing, right? Yeah.
well, technology in that way, but yeah.
What's next? So you guys are again a year out on the release of Head Carrier. You guys are obviously touring. I know you have a lot more stops on this particular tour. Any writing for the next album? Any thoughts of what's coming up next? I know you have a big anniversary coming up next year for Surfer Rosa, which is, I believe, 20 years old or 30
We're
years
going to retake our Surfer Rosa vows
Yeah.
at the shows.
Yes. I love
Together
it.
as a band.
A recommitment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to work. I got to start writing them now.
Yeah.
You know, get it so we don't.
Anniversary tour for that, as you guys did with Doolittle, or are you guys gonna work on some new music? What
We got a jam session scheduled tomorrow night, tomorrow afternoon, in Grand Rapids. We jam out about 3 times a week during the day.
Yeah.
At wherever we're playing. Not every day, but about. So the last jam we had was in Cleveland.
Toronto?
No,
Oh.
Toronto. Well, anyway,
No.
we're overdue for a little jam where we play new chord shapes and that kind of thing. So yeah, we have begun working on new songs and we'll be jamming them on tomorrow.
I love it. See what sticks. I love it. Fantastic. I've got one more question, then we'll open it up for maybe 1 or 2 audience questions. So if you've got a question, think of it, and we'll get you a mic here in just a second. This is what I consider a fun question, and it's for each of you, so we'll go down the row. So a lot of times when somebody is new to Google, we will ask them what their guilty pleasure music is. Essentially what I mean by that is if I pulled up next to you and you were sitting at a stoplight and your window was down and you were just jamming out to a particular song or musician, but maybe you were a little embarrassed that's who you're listening to, who would that be? Maybe like a Justin Bieber, Britney Spears, something like that. Anything that you guys have come to mind?
Leo Sayer, you make me feel like dancing.
Yeah? Singing along?
Huh?
You sing along to it? Top of the lungs?
It just makes me happy.
Yeah, I love it. Charles, you got one?
I don't know if I have like a funny one or anything.
It doesn't have to be funny.
You know, I don't have like a Leo Sayer or whatever. I'm trying. Lately I've been listening to this guy, Hector Lavoe. He's a
Lavoe.
Puerto Rican salsa singer. He's passed away now, but and he made a lot of records with Willie Colon, who's a New York trombone.
Sure.
They make these a lot of in the 60s, early 70s records, but that's what I've been, when I want to peppy.
I love it. David?
Well, it's tough. I don't think it's what do you call it, guilty pleasure, but Steely Dan and Rush.
Classics. Yeah. Those are inspirations too, right? That's fantastic. Paz, what about you?
I guess I would be embarrassed to my interpretation of Edith Piaf pretending that I know what I'm singing.
Just making noise that sounds good along to the music,
sounds
right?
French,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of French-like, you
Sure.
know, and I'm, you know.
Yeah. I was really hoping that one of you would say you listened to the Pixies in the car while you guys were
Oh, I
driving
definitely
around.
have done that.
Yeah.
I definitely have done
Yeah,
that.
just jamming out to your own music. I would just die if I pulled up next to one of you and you were singing your own music. I've always dreamt of that, so
Well, I think
just my thought.
I don't know, a good way to like see how like your record sounds is putting it in your car and going for a drive.
Sure.
You know, if it drives well, it sounds good.
I love it. Yeah. That's where we listen to most of our music too. Very cool.
I feel like I opened up my soul with saying Leo say.
Yeah. You let off strong. I like that.
Yeah.
It's out there now. It's going to be on the internet. You can't take it
Mm.
back. Oh.
It's all about the perks, Simon. The perks. Look at that.
3 more, please.
Man. Leo Sayer, before we go on, Joe, tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight. Gonna get happy.
I wouldn't mind my own.
I like that.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Thank you, guys. Any questions from the audience? Anyone want to shout one out here?
I guess I direct this towards Charles, going back in the beginning days. What was the transition, in other words, from, you know, playing music, doing covers, and making that transition going to original music? Could you tell us a little bit about how that happened versus slugging it out in the nightclubs? And
Well, we played in nightclubs, but we were playing in a, I don't know what you call it, a musical culture where you didn't really do cover songs. You know, if you do cover songs, you play at a certain kind of a club, but the kind of clubs that we were playing at, that would have been frowned upon. You wouldn't have been even allowed a slot. It doesn't matter what kind of a racket you make; it has to be your racket or whatever. So we've learned over the years a couple of songs, but I personally find it very challenging to learn other people's music, even if it's a simple song, because it's confusing to me. I don't know. So we don't do a lot of covers, and we never did when we were starting out. But that's just was because then we were playing in Boston, and those clubs there, that, you know, it wasn't about playing cover music. So I'm glad I didn't have to. Some people might live in a town where that might be the transition that you have to kind of go through to, I don't know, get to the next stop, you know. But we didn't have to do that. So I don't know what we would have played, but I'm trying to think of I don't know. Probably like the
Steely Dan,
the
Rush.
Cars,
The
probably,
Cars,
or something,
yeah.
you know.
Cool. Any other questions from the audience? Sure.
Any one of you guys can answer this. I was wondering if there's any bands that you guys would like to play with that you haven't had the chance to play with yet, like go on tour maybe or something.
Steely Dan and Rush.
That would be good.
Leo would fight. Oh my God. That would blow a lid on people.
I love it. I think
Leave
we've
it
got some
be,
themes going on.
She's dead.
Some years ago, we played a few shows with Weezer, and there's something about that band that, I mean, they're kind of more pop oriented than we are, but there's some kind of aesthetic that they have, which I think that all of us in the band, we like it or whatever. So
That would be an amazing tour.
I would buy a ticket for that show, Weezer and the Pixies. See if we can make that happen. It'd be fantastic. Yeah. Eric?
I have a question and somewhat also an embarrassing story, but I'll start with the question first, and hopefully we'll run out of time for the embarrassing story. I feel like with musicians, they have a unique relationship with music itself. So there's sort of like a relationship with the person, right? There's love, sometimes it's difficult, it can be hard writing and performing and things like that. Have you ever had a moment in your career when you've maybe fallen out of love with music or writing it or doing it, performing, even listening to it? And if that has happened, what's like the one thing that sort of brought you back? Whether it was like maybe you had a child or maybe, you know, I don't know, like you just listened to a band and it just sort of brought you back into things.
As you can see, we like multi-part questions here at Google, so it's hard to follow along sometimes. But I think we got that one. Thanks, Eric.
Well, I can say when the band, when we dissolved a while back, I kind of gave up drums. I was just, you know, this was great playing with this, and I did some session work. Nah, gave up drums. Didn't think about it for, I don't know, 10 years. But then when we got back together, it's like, whoa, what have I done? It was like a lost love, but.
And for those of you that don't know, David also became a professional musician during that time. So magician. Yes.
It's only a couple letters off on my business card if I change some of that.
Magician. So if you haven't, another YouTube task for you afterwards is to look up some of his shows. They're fantastic. So
One of my kids, she likes kind of macho dude singers. You know what I mean? I figured that out when she was pretty young, that's what she kind of resonates with. So I'm always like, you got to check out Three Dog Night, you know, and then she'll be Three Dog Night for like about a month, and then you got to check out Cat Stevens. And then, you know, so it's kind of like I get to relive a lot of records I listened to when I was a kid. You know, when you have kids, you kind of go, hey, if you, unless they're kind of like, you know, if they're that age where they don't want to have anything to do with you, whatever, then you can't really. But she's like, she's in this sweet spot right now. It's like I can go, hey, I got a suggestion for you, and then she'll just totally take it and run, you know. So it's been nice to listen to a lot of records that way that I haven't listened to in a long time.
How long do you wait before you let her put a needle on a record? At what age?
Oh, I don't know. We're not real. I don't know. We got a lot of broken stuff in our house. We're not really that precious about that kind of stuff.
cool. Maybe one more question, Leah?
So your lyrics, I know you said you just put together what sounds good when you write your songs, but are there ever a deeper meaning behind some of the lyrics you write? Because they don't always make sense to me.
Sometimes there is, and sometimes there is when you're doing it, you know, when you're kind of writing at a, you know, it's kind of internalized process, you know, it's kind of mental, and you're kind of like jumping all over the place, and you're kind of, oh yeah, the dots are all connected now, they're all connecting now, woo! And then it's over, and then like a year later, it's like, I don't even know like what it's about. I'm just like, I can't recreate whatever was going on in my head at that time. So it's just like, yeah, it's just like, it just kind of sounds the way, you know, they're not all like that, but that's how it is for me.
That's amazing. Thank you, guys. Guys, one more time, let's give a round of applause for the Pixies. Thank you so much, guys, for coming in. Really appreciate it.